kind of intuitively understood that if you have this 7-day container totally based in, teachings on reality, this is the most perfect space for something like self-realization. And my work, when I first began to be a teacher, it really had a lot to do with me having a deep passion to teach freedom inside of everyday life. And in order to do that best, you couldn't be removed from your everyday life. You had to be in your everyday life, right? And so that's what the classes are so beautifully built with, right? These really deep teachings about reality, but then you have to get up and walk it day to day, and you get all this sort of support of that container inside your own life and your own community and your own families to figure out how to navigate freedom. And also the one-on-one work is very about that, where often people would call me and they'd say, like, listen, I'm so done with this pattern. I'm just going to rent a hotel. I'm going to be there for 3 weeks and let's just get this out, And I would be like, I'm so happy for that devotion. And so this is what we're going to do. You're going to stay exactly where you are in your town, in your house, in all the mess that this pattern has wrecked. And we're going to work step by step to unravel it in ground zero. And we're going to unravel it inside of you. And we're going to use that devotion, but you're not going to leave it, come over here and magically fix it and imagine that you can go back and have, it's not going to work that way. So that's why, my books and my classes and the one-on-one work all supported this actualization of freedom in your day-to-day life. And I was aware there's these incredible teachers, my mentors like Eckhart and Adyashanti, who are phenomenal at self-realization, and they do such a beautiful job of it. There are others who also do great jobs of it. And then there's the maestro, Byron Katie, who's just so hardcore and incredible. And to take a workshop with her, which is really to be sitting in her loving presence while she grills you through inquiry, these all made sense for live in-person movement. And they did them so well that there was no point in me doing that. And it wasn't anything I was called to do anyways. And the thing that I do so very well is how to be free in your everyday life. However, people wanted to sit in my presence and wanted to sit in my clarity and wanted to look at my cute smile and, and be around me physically. So I had a very transforming spring inside of myself. The external season was spring and the internal season was spring. And something came into my system of such an intense frequency. My life looks like a very ordinary bliss. And this was a very heightened bliss. And it continued for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And it was clear to me that there was just something moving, just something wanted to move. And at the peak of it, no, it wasn't even the peak. It was maybe the first peak. At the first peak, I was really aware of a shape for retreat that looked like 7 days in a container. And it kind of had to make the shape. And that kind of came clear. And then we set that up. And what happened was I maintained this consistent, incredibly high bliss throughout all of the prep time. And then as soon as I got onto the land where we were doing the retreat, as soon as I got to the retreat center, it's just it was like something took over. And it was so beautifully emptying. And then over the next 7 days with all of everybody who was there, it was just this extraordinary movement of spontaneity and silence. And I feel like every one of us had exactly the same experience, inside of it. I felt the same way you felt, everybody felt the same thing. There was just this one movement. And I like to describe whether it's a retreat I'm doing or a workshop doing as summer camp meets silent retreat, it has a lot of social bonding, right? We love each other and we connect with each other and we make community with each other. And now I'm so excited because now it's oh my God, there is a gear in me for self-realization retreats. It's certainly not going to replace any of my work. It's an addition to it. And it feels like a natural addition to it. Like it feels like, oh my God, it's so helpful for everybody who's doing the classes and or doing one-on-ones with me as well. Like, oh, it's a really helpful piece to that. And so, so that's fun to discover.
It was a very super nurturing immersion. First of all, in nature. We were in the first few days, we were just kind of ensconced in this magnificent misty fog, and you really couldn't see, 10 feet in front of you on some of the mornings. And the effect of that in the psyche of like the parallel of what's going on in our lives. Like, I don't have to think 10 feet ahead of me. I have to just walk these steps now, and what will be revealed through the fog will be revealed as I walk. And then as the week kind of progressed and the weather changed, and we had like these gloriously sunny days where we could just swim in the pond or walk through the woods. It was just completely nourishing from like an earth connection. And then the stuff that we would share together in the dialogue. First of all, there's so much fun in the dialogue, and so much laughter, and so much hilarity, and so much unsanctimoniousness, and like no fakeness, and no none of the holier than thou type of stuff that you get in the spiritual type of settings. And instead, we just had just kind of naked truth, just kind of presented in this very real and tangible package, and talking about the moment, the inclusivity of the moment, how the moment encompasses everything, even the things that we might kind of label as something negative or something undesirable. I felt like the group was like a super phenomenal, super committed group. Like I felt like a lot of people were really on the same wavelength. Like I love the energy of the group.
The summer camp experience, right, is like, imagine like you're 12 or 14 and you leave home and you go to camp and you create these relationships. And it's so exciting and stimulating. And these people, like, they hear you and they see you and they get you. That's the part that's so exciting about it. And that, and you get to have like, connections with people. You get to have like a best friend, and you get to have like the camp counselor you're attracted to, and you get to have the like, late night adventures where you're mischievous and you do silly things and you break the rules, and you get to like, like steal peanut butter sandwiches, like, like it has this level of like really joyous spontaneity. So if summer camp is this like level of play, connection, mischievousness, spontaneity, it's so alive. It's really alive. And then if we say, connecting into your source, connecting into source itself, and the moment is so alive. It's so alive. And what we're talking about is feeding itself. We're kind of not, we're not making this aliveness an exclusivity. We're making the aliveness an inclusivity. So we're saying, this deep source of aliveness, this pure life force that you are just devoting to and connecting to, and by being in this environment and this container and this community, it amplifies your devotion and it amplifies your access, right? Which is what's so great about the retreat piece of it. So you're spilling that aliveness, that connectivity, that joy, that freedom into relationship. And then the beautiful thing is then everybody or most people are back in class together, and they're your cohort, and you have an ongoing relationship with them. And they become a deeper Sangha in a very direct way that eventually, I think my hope is that everybody spills into mastery. And really it only takes a couple of years through the classes, and that people really start to achieve a level of freedom and liberation in themselves that is ready to be in community full time like that. And it's cool because you would have established connection with a lot of these people to begin with.
being part of this community and the community being real, as in tangible in my everyday life. Because after retreat, it's not just, okay, we go home and that was it. It's like we carry each other. So it looks like phone calls or messages or reaching out for a body call sometimes.
The community support at retreat is just unparalleled. I don't have just the interactions with people is so very genuine and authentic. It's people that I trust with my, just most, precious, thoughts and also my, deepest, even, secrets in a way that I can share those and expose those, things like shame, and just actually release those. And it's something that I don't feel free to do with the people who are in my hometown community. And so that's really something that's a part of the community that shows up at retreat. And what that offers to me is, just so much healing and just love, just the incredible love, among the participants, and just something very magical happens in that place. Also the trust of myself to be very authentic and be very clear about what I want and what's delicious for me, and to be able to speak that to people who respect and can hear that. Yes, I want to. I want to go on a walk with them, but no, I don't want to go swimming. I have another thing to do, and then we all know that that's the best thing for all of us. Specific to this past year's retreat, I really saw very deeply, multiple things. One of them was something, even going back to childhood, something that was had a lot of rage attached to it and shame, and recognizing that and just watching that in my system, then actually moving to the extent that there was some clearing that was very noticeable to other people, like many other people commented on this, and specifically my voice changing from before retreat to after retreat. I mean, literally people who had talked to me right before retreat and then right after retreat commented on like my voice being different and it impacting my interaction with people. It was just a lot more easy and a lot less tension in my voice, and obviously tension in my body. So that was significant. A lot of clarity also, coming from retreat and just bringing that back into my life. And then kind of mining little nuggets for ongoing healing, noticing things, having these big recognitions at retreat that just continue to grow in terms of clarity and healing. And it's just an incredible experience. I love it.
Eventually, there's the 7 days, and then there's the post retreat where you're kind of in this in between of like, when I left retreat for the next many weeks, there was all this shaking and all this beautiful healing that really helped me feel like, okay, here's something tangible, physical, bodily that's going on that I know is really healing.
The whole thing was like the whole thing, like from my first step onto the land, and there was this vast echo of silence that went for miles around. It was so surprising how that informed everybody's devotion from the get-go, from when we first sat down together. It always surprises me about how amazing the community is. You can't really have any bullshit and be in my teachings. Like you just can't have holdouts. And therefore, when you meet the people that are there, all the people are so incredibly devoted and are not running any bullshit. And that's something it's always surprising and beautiful to like witness that. And it's always amazing when I watch, because part of what happens in that place is that you become your best self. You don't dilute yourself, like it was so amazing to me to watch people recognize all of their illusions and come to reality at once, like at one moment together. And I think that remains to this day extraordinarily surprising to me. And I think it will be a phenomenon that continues to happen as we do more retreats. But I think that I didn't know the possibility of that before then. And then afterwards, I thought, of course, because there's only one of us here. And when we're really synced, which is what the summer camp plus retreat happens, is we're really synced, then as one moves, the others move, and then the others move, and it moves the one, and and we start to like slowly unravel every illusion until we just are reality itself. And that was felt inside of me the same way it felt inside of you. Like it felt so glorious, unbelievably, hugely grateful, tremendously like obvious, and profoundly like inspired in the most humbled way of like what is possible for humans to do, and especially to do together.
This is one of the things I love right up front, Kiran establishing that, like, first and foremost, the most important thing is that you all take care of yourself in each moment. You have permission to get up and leave. You have permission to always be caring for yourself. And so not only do you know that in terms of like Kiran, but you also know that everybody else understands that's the rule. So if you get up in the middle of the meal and leave, like, it's fine, right? Anyone can do anything, anytime, which is, within reason, which was such a beautiful, just so nice to not have to be thinking of anyone else's feelings or, like it's just established that we all move the way we need to move in each moment. And to get to practice that in a community of people who understand it is such a beautiful practice, because once you've done it with a bunch of rando strangers that you've just met and you've practiced it with other human beings, it's so much easier to bring that into all the areas of your life. Again, there's this effortlessness that's sort of continuing, where there's just so much awareness coming into all my interactions. And there's this new level of like freedom and peace and like bliss that's still here. No reason to say still, because like that assumes it's going to go away. But, there's this lovely sort of new sort of baseline that's sort of set. And when I step away from it for a moment, like I did last night with my brother at dinner, it's like I can immediately sense it, and I can like then really go and apply those tools. And so it just feels like the second retreat has almost been, I guess effortless, and almost like just up leveled, or just set this new way of operating that feels, I keep saying effortless.